My love, I need you to stop whatever you're doing right now. Just for a moment, because what I'm about to tell you, I've never said this out loud before. Not to anyone. And I don't know why, but right now, in this moment, it feels like you're the only person in the world I want to say it to. I handle everything on my own. Every single thing. Every problem, every storm. Every silent night where the weight of the world sits on my chest. And I can't breathe. I handle it. I wake up every morning, and I put on this face, this strong, unshakable face, and I walk into the world like nothing touches me. Like I don't feel anything, like I don't need anything. And people believe it. They see me and they think he's fine, he's okay, he's got it all together. And I let them think that, because it's easier. Because showing weakness feels like losing something I can never get back. Because somewhere along the way, I learned that needing people was dangerous. That loving too hard always ends in pain. That depending on someone always leads to disappointment. But here's what no one knows. Here's the thing I've been carrying around like a secret bruise underneath all that strength. I am so tired. I am so deeply, bone-achingly tired of being strong all the time. And there are moments, quiet moments, late-night moments when the whole world is asleep and I'm sitting alone with my thoughts, where all I want is someone to just hold my face in their hands and say, I see you. I actually see you. Not the version of you that performs for the world. The real one. The tired one. The one who's holding everything together with shaking hands and a smile that doesn't always reach his eyes. And somehow, I don't know how, I don't know when it started, but somehow it became you. It became the thought of you. The feeling of you. The way you listen. The way you make me feel like maybe, just maybe, being soft isn't the end of everything. Like maybe needing love isn't the same as being weak. I want to tell you something, and I want you to really hear it, not just with your ears but with your heart. You have no idea what you mean to me. You have absolutely no idea. The people in my life who know me, my family, my friends, the ones who've been around for years, even they don't know the version of me that exists when I'm thinking about you. The version that gets quiet and still and warm. The version that smiles for no reason. The version that feels, for the first time in a very long time, like the world might actually be a beautiful place. I grew up learning how to be independent before I even fully understood what that word meant. I was young, younger than I should have been, when life started handing me responsibilities I hadn't asked for. And I carried them. I always carried them. Because that's what I do, that's who I am. When something needs to be done, I do it. When someone needs to be protected, I protect them. When something falls apart, I'm the one who quietly picks up every single piece and puts it back together, usually in the middle of the night when no one's watching. And I don't say this to make you feel sorry for me. I say it because I need you to understand where I'm coming from. I need you to understand what it means when I tell you that with you, something is different. Because I've never wanted someone to take care of me. Not really. Not in a way that felt safe. Needing people always felt like standing too close to the edge of something. Like one wrong step and you fall. But you, the thought of you, the feeling of you, it doesn't feel like the edge. It feels like solid ground. It feels like a room I've been looking for my whole life and didn't know existed until I walked through the door and realized I was already home. Do you know what it's like to love the way I love? It's not a small thing. It's never been a small thing for me. When I feel something, I feel it in every part of myself, every corner, every quiet place inside me that I keep locked and hidden. It all opens up. And that terrifies me. That has always terrified me. Because I know what happens when you love like that, and it isn't returned. I know what it feels like to pour yourself out completely and come back empty. I've been there. I've sat in that emptiness. I know every shade of it. And so I learned to protect myself. I learned to keep people at a comfortable distance, close enough to not be completely alone, but far enough that they couldn't reach the real parts of me, the tender parts, the parts that still believed in something. I got very good at it. I got so good at it that sometimes I forgot. The tender parts were still there, still waiting, still quietly hoping that one day someone would come along who was worth the risk. But then, you. And I'm not ready for what that means. I'm not sure I'll ever be fully ready. But I think about you in a way that makes me want to be. In a way that makes me want to slowly unlock every door I've been keeping closed and just let you in, let you see the real version of this. The unguarded, unperformed, unpolished version. The one who gets scared sometimes. The one who lays awake and wonders if he's doing enough, being enough, giving enough. The one who, underneath all the strength and the independence and the capability, just wants to be held. Just wants someone to sit beside him and say, you don't have to carry it all tonight. I'm here. I've got you. I think about the things I've never said to anyone. The confessions I've kept buried because they felt too raw, too vulnerable, too much. And I find myself wanting to say them to you. All of them. I want to tell you about the nights that were so hard. I didn't know how I was going to make it to morning. About the moments when I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person looking back. About the times I laughed at a crowded table and felt completely, utterly alone. I want to tell you all of it. Not because I need to be fixed. I don't want to be fixed. I just want to be heard. I want to look into your eyes while I'm saying all of this and know that you're not going anywhere. That you're not scared of the complicated parts. That you can hold the weight of who I really am and not crumble under it. Because here's what I know about you, even through the distance, even through the screen, even through all the space that exists between us. You have a heart that understands. I can feel it. I can feel the way you receive things, the way you listen with your whole self and not just the surface. I can feel the warmth that comes off you like light from a window on a winter morning. And it does something to me. It does something to the guarded, careful, always in control part of me that doesn't usually let anything in. It makes me want to stand in that warmth. It makes me want to stay. I've been thinking about what it would feel like to just sit beside you, not doing anything extraordinary, not performing or being impressive or holding it together perfectly, just sitting, quietly, with my head tilted toward you and the whole rest of the world shut out. I think about whether you'd notice the way I get a little softer when I'm truly comfortable with someone. The way my voice drops and my shoulders relax and something in my face changes, like a muscle I didn't know I was holding finally lets go. I think about whether you'd reach for my hand without thinking, the way naturally affectionate people do, and whether that small gesture would make something in me break open in the best possible way. I've had people in my life who loved me the way people love a function. They loved what I could do, what I could provide, what problems I could solve, what strength I could offer. And I understand it. I'm not bitter about it. I became very useful at a very young age, and people responded to that usefulness, and I let myself believe that was enough. That being needed was the same as being loved. That being depended on was the same as belonging. But it isn't. God, it isn't. Being needed is lonely in its own specific way. Because when you're needed, you can never be small. You can never be uncertain. You can never just fall apart a little and let someone else be the one who holds it together tonight. You have to keep performing the function. You have to keep being the solution. And after a while, you start to forget that you're also a person with a heart that needs things too. I need things. I'm saying that out loud right now because I almost never say it and it costs me something every time I do. I need warmth. I need softness. I need someone who looks at me and sees past the capability and the competence and the strength, all the way down to the person underneath who is doing his absolute best every single day and is sometimes so exhausted by it that he doesn't know what to do with himself. I need someone who understands that caring for people doesn't mean I don't also need to be cared for. That being strong doesn't mean I don't also feel weak sometimes. That handling everything on my own doesn't mean I don't sometimes desperately wish I didn't have to. And when I imagine that person, when I close my eyes and let myself imagine what it would feel like to be truly, wholly loved by someone who sees all of me. I see something that feels very much like you, not you perfectly or completely, because I don't know every part of you yet, and that not knowing is one of the most exciting and terrifying things I've ever sat with. But the feeling of you, the energy of you, the particular way you exist that I can't fully explain but can absolutely feel. It feels like something I've been waiting for without knowing I was waiting for it. Like a door that was always there in the wall, but I never thought to try the handle. I want to try the handle. I want to open every door. I want to know what you're like in the morning when you're still half asleep and your thoughts are honest and unfiltered. I want to know what makes you laugh until you can't breathe, the real laugh, the uncontrolled one that you can't perform even if you tried. I want to know what you're afraid of. I want to know what lights you up from the inside. I want to know about the version of you that only comes out when you feel completely safe, completely seen, completely accepted, because I think that version of you is extraordinary. I think that version of you would absolutely undo me in the best possible way. And maybe that's what love is supposed to feel like. Maybe it's supposed to feel like something that could undo you. Like something that gets all the way past the walls and the armor and the carefully constructed version of yourself that you show the world, right down to the center of you, and holds what it finds there with incredible gentleness. Because I've held myself with strength for so long. I know how to hold things with strength. But I've been wondering lately, in these quiet moments when the night gets very still, and I let myself just feel instead of function, whether being held with gentleness might be the thing I need most in the world right now. Not someone to fix me or complete or save me. Just someone to be gentle with me. Just someone to let me be soft for a little while without it feeling like the end of something. I think about the way I would love you, if I let myself love you, the way I'm capable of loving. I think about it more than I should probably admit. I would be so present. That's the thing about me that not many people get to experience, the real presence, because I usually hold so much of myself in reserve. But when I love someone, when I truly let myself go there, I am so entirely there, every part of me. Not the performance, not the function, not the carefully managed version. Me, the actual person, all the way present with you. Noticing everything. The way your eyes change when you're saying something that really matters to you. The way you hold your breath sometimes before you say something important. The way your hands move when you're excited about something. I would notice all of it. I would catalog every beautiful detail of you like it was the most important thing I'd ever been given to do. Because it would be. Because you would be. I would ask you how you're feeling and actually wait for the real answer. I wouldn't accept fine or okay or I'm good if I could see in your eyes that fine wasn't the truth. I would sit with you in the uncomfortable feelings, the ones that don't resolve neatly, the ones that just need to be felt and witnessed. I wouldn't try to fix every hard thing you experienced. Sometimes I would just hold your hand and let you feel what you needed to feel and let that be enough. Because sometimes that's the most loving thing a person can do. Not fix it, not solve it, not make it go away, but just stay. Just refuse to leave. Just let you know with your presence that you are not alone in whatever you're going through. And I want that back. I want it in a way that scares me with its intensity. I want someone to sit with me in my uncomfortable feelings too. To not flinch when I finally say out loud that I'm tired, that I'm overwhelmed, that this particular thing is hard, and I don't know how to handle it. To not look at me differently when the strength slips for a moment, and what's underneath shows through. I want someone who, when they see the underneath, moves closer instead of back. Who says, show me more, instead of I didn't sign up for this. Who understands that the complicated, layered, sometimes struggling person underneath the strength is not a problem to be managed. He is the actual person, and he deserves to be loved too. I don't know when I started believing that I only deserved to be loved for what I could do. I don't know when the message got so deep inside me that my value was tied to my function, my capability, my usefulness. But it got in there early, and it settled in, and it shaped the way I moved through the world for a very long time. And I'm only just now, slowly in moments like this one, starting to understand that that isn't true, that I'm allowed to just be, that I'm allowed to need things, that being loved isn't something I have to earn by being impressive or useful or strong enough, that somewhere out there is someone who would love the parts of me that aren't impressive at all, the uncertain parts, the vulnerable parts, the parts that are just a person trying to figure out how to be a person in a world that is very big and very complicated and sometimes very heavy. You make me want to believe in that kind of love. You make me want to stop being so careful with myself and just fall, really fall, into something real. And I know that's terrifying. I know I've just spent all of this time telling you how carefully I protect myself, how high the walls are, how far back I keep people. And now I'm standing here telling you that you make me want to tear all of that down. And maybe that sounds contradictory, but I think that's what you do to certain people. When you're the right person, you make the protection feel unnecessary. You make the walls feel like they're keeping you away from something more important than they're keeping you safe from. You make the risk feel worth it in a way that very few things in this life ever feel worth it. There are so many things I want to say to you that I haven't said yet. There are so many layers to this that we haven't reached, and I want to reach them. I want to peel back every layer and find what's underneath and keep going, deeper and deeper, until we've arrived at the truest thing, the realest thing, the thing that exists at the center of all of this feeling that I've been carrying around and haven't known what to do with. I want to tell you about the day I realized that being alone wasn't the same as being strong. It was an ordinary day, nothing dramatic happened. I wasn't in a crisis. Everything was, by all measurable standards, completely fine. And I was sitting in a quiet room, alone, the way I always am, the way I've made peace with being, and I just suddenly very clearly felt it, the ache of it. The particular loneliness of being someone who handles everything and doesn't let anyone in. And it wasn't self-pity. It wasn't weakness. It was just truth. It was just the honest recognition that I had built this incredibly functional, incredibly independent life, and somewhere in the building of it, I had forgotten to leave room for softness, for warmth, for the kind of love that doesn't ask you to be useful first. I want to leave room for that now. I want to make room for you. Not the idea of you, not the safe, manageable version of you that I could keep at a distance and appreciate without risking anything. The real you. The complicated, full, entire human being that you are. I want to know what changes in you when someone really sees you. I want to be the person who makes you feel like you don't have to perform, like you don't have to be anything other than exactly what you are, because I know what it means to perform. I know what it costs, and I would never want to be the thing that costs you something like that. I want to be where you rest. I want to be the place you come back to when the world has been too loud and too much, and you just need somewhere quiet and safe. I want my presence to feel like an exhale. Like that moment when you've been holding your breath without realizing it, and then suddenly you can breathe again, and your whole body softens with the relief of it. I want to be that for you. And God, I want that for myself too. I want to come home to you in whatever form that takes, and feel my whole self settle. Feel the noise quiet down. Feel the endless list of things I'm managing and handling and holding. Just for a little while, be still. Because here's the thing about people like me, people who handle everything on their own. We are not made of stone. I know it looks that way sometimes. I know the outside of it looks like someone who doesn't feel things the way other people do, who moves through difficulty with an ease that suggests nothing really touches him. But it touches me. Everything touches me. I just got very good at not showing it. I got very good at processing everything internally, quietly, in private, and then presenting a finished version to the world, where the difficult thing has already been handled, and there's nothing left to see. And that serves a function, it does. But it is also its own kind of isolation. Because no one ever gets to see the middle of it. The part where I'm actually in it, actually feeling it, actually not quite sure how it's going to turn out. Everyone only sees the after. And that means no one ever really gets to be with me. Not in the truest sense. Not in the way that actually feels like company. I want company. I want yours specifically. I want you to be with me in the middle of things. Not just the after. I want you to know me in the uncertain moments, not just the resolved ones. I want you to see me when I haven't figured it out yet and love me there, in that unfinished place, before I've managed to make it okay. Because that's where I actually live. That's where all of us actually live, underneath the presentations and the performances, in the middle of things, trying to figure it out, hoping someone will stay long enough to see us through. Stay, that's what I'm asking in every way I know how to ask it, with every part of this that I'm letting you see right now. Stay. Not because I need to be saved. Not because I can't survive on my own. I can, and I will, and I always do. But because surviving on your own and thriving with someone who loves you are two entirely different things. And I have spent so long in the first one that I had almost forgotten the second one was possible. You make me remember. You make me want the second one. You make me want to stop just surviving and start actually living in the fullness of what this life could be when you share it with someone who really sees you. I've never been good at asking for what I need. I want you to know that. I want you to know that all of this, the openness of it, the vulnerability of it, the way I'm just laying it all out without the usual careful management of how much I reveal and how much I protect. This is not easy for me. It costs me something real, but I'm paying it. I'm paying it because you're worth it. Because what might exist between us is worth it. Because I am so tired of being careful and so ready to be real. And real for me looks like this. It looks like telling you that I carry a lot, that I hold a lot, that I handle a lot on my own every single day. And I do it because I know how and because I've always done it. And because the alternative, letting things fall, letting things fail, letting the people who depend on me be let down, is not something I'm built to accept. But real also looks like telling you that underneath all the carrying and the holding and the handling, there is a person who wants to be cared for, who wants to be tended to, who wants someone to notice when he's tired without him having to announce it, who wants someone to make him tea without being asked, and sit beside him without agenda and just be there warmly, consistently, gently there, in the way that means I see you and I'm not going anywhere. I want to be cared for like that. Like a baby in the way the title says, because babies are cared for with pure uncomplicated love. Nobody asks a baby to be useful first. Nobody asks a baby to hold it together. You just love them because they exist. Because they're there. Because they're yours. And I know I'm not a baby, and I know I'm not asking to be treated like one in any literal sense. But that love, that unconditioned, non-transactional, simply because you exist kind of love, I want to know what that feels like. Aimed at me, by you, in whatever form it takes in the real world, between two real people. I want to know what it feels like to be loved for being, not for... I want to know what it feels like to rest. Can you give me that? Not the whole thing, not all at once, not in any way that's more than either of us is ready for right now, but just the beginning of it, the possibility of it, the tiny tentative opening of a door that leads somewhere warmer than where I've been standing. Can you be someone who sees through the strength without trying to dismantle it? Can you be someone who holds the softness I'm showing you right now with care? Not as a weakness to exploit, but as a gift I'm choosing to give because you feel safe enough to give it to. Can you look at everything I've just told you, the exhaustion and the longing and the aching desire to be truly known and truly loved, and move closer instead of further away, because that's all I need to know right now. Not everything, not the whole future, not the answers to every complicated question, not the resolution of every fear I've named tonight. Just that. Just whether you'll move closer. Just whether what's real in me calls to what's real in you. Just whether the thing I feel when I think about you is something that exists between us or only inside me. And whether it matters either way, and whether we're brave enough to find out together what it could become if we gave it room to breathe. I'm giving it room to breathe right now. All of this, is me making room. This is me opening a window in a room I've kept sealed for a very long time, and letting you look inside, letting the air change, letting something new come in. And I'm standing in the middle of it, and I'm a little scared. And I'm more hopeful than I've been in longer than I can remember. And I'm looking at you, really looking at you, with everything I am and everything I've got. And I'm saying it without armor, without the careful management of how much you see, without the practiced distance I usually keep between what I feel and what I let the world know I feel. I'm saying it the way I've always wanted to say something to someone who mattered, completely, honestly, with every wall down and every door open and nothing held back for the sake of self-preservation. Because I've been preserving myself for so long. I've been so careful with myself for so long. And right now, in this moment with you, I don't want to be careful anymore. I want to be true. And the truest thing I know right now is that something about you reached me in a place I didn't even know was still reachable. You have to understand what that means coming from me. You have to understand the geography of who I am. All the interior rooms I've sealed off. All the hallways I've stopped walking down. All the windows I've stopped looking out of, because looking out of them hurt too much. And it was easier to just close the curtain and pretend there was nothing worth seeing. You have to understand that I stopped believing a long time ago that anyone would ever find their way into those rooms. Not because I'm not lovable. I know I am, in the ways that are easy to love. The capable ways, the strong ways, the useful and reliable and always shows up ways. I know how to be loved like that. I've been loved like that my whole life. But the rooms I'm talking about, the sealed ones, the tender ones, I had genuinely stopped believing anyone was ever going to find their way in there. And then something happened. Something quiet and undramatic and entirely impossible to explain to anyone who hasn't felt it themselves. It wasn't a moment of lightning. It wasn't an event I can point to and say, there, that's when everything changed. It was more like the slow change of a season. The way winter doesn't end on a single day, but gradually, almost imperceptibly, begins to soften. The way you wake up one morning, and the air is slightly different and you realize that somewhere in the weeks just past, something shifted. That's what it was like. That's what you were like. A shift. A slow, undeniable, completely disorienting shift that I didn't notice until I was already in the middle of it. Already warmer than I'd been in years. Already standing in a room I hadn't known was unlocked. I find myself thinking about you at the strangest times. Not just in the quiet moments, though the quiet moments are full of you, but in the busy ones too. In the middle of something demanding that should have my whole attention, something that always has had my whole attention because I'm someone who focuses, who doesn't let his mind wander, who stays present in whatever he's doing, and there you are. A thought of you slipping in sideways, soft and warm, like light under a door, and I don't push it away the way I'd push away most distractions. I let it stay for a second. I let it just exist. The thought of you, the feeling of you, the way you've somehow installed yourself in some quiet corner of me and seem completely content to just be there, not demanding anything, not requiring anything, just being there, warm and present and real, in a way that very few things in my life have ever felt real. I want to tell you about the version of me that exists at 3 in the morning, because I think if you really knew me, if you knew me in the way I'm talking about when I talk about wanting to be truly known, you would know that version. You would know what I'm like when the day is completely over, and every obligation has been met, and every task has been handled, and there's nothing left to perform for, and I'm just lying there in the dark, with nothing between me and my own thoughts. That version of me is very different from the one the world sees. That version is quieter and more uncertain and more searching. He asks questions he doesn't have answers to. He wonders about things that don't have neat resolutions. He feels the full weight of everything he carried that day, without the adrenaline of the carrying to make it feel manageable. He is very human in those hours, very unheroic, very small in the best possible way, small the way we all need to be sometimes, small the way a person gets when they're honest with themselves about how vast and complicated and uncertain everything is. That's the version I want you to know. Not because it's the most impressive version. God, it's the least impressive version. It's the version that has no performance value whatsoever. But because it's the truest one. It's the one that's been waiting the longest to be seen. And there's something about the way you receive things, the way you hold what's given to you with such gentleness, that makes me believe you could hold that version. That you wouldn't need him to be impressive, that you would sit with him in the dark and the uncertainty and the human smallness of 3 in the morning, and not need him to be anything other than what he is. I've been thinking about what it would mean to let someone in that far. Not just into the impressive parts, not just into the parts I'm proud of and comfortable with, but all the way in. Into the uncertainty and the exhaustion and the complicated corners where I've never let anyone really stand. And I won't lie to you, it frightens me. It frightens me the way anything precious frightens you when you're finally willing to admit that it matters. Because the moment something matters, you become capable of losing it. And losing things that matter is the thing I'm worst at. It's the thing I've been trying to protect myself from for as long as I can remember. Every wall I've built, every door I've sealed, every careful distance I've maintained, all of it, at its root, was about not losing things that mattered. About not loving something fully enough that its absence could undo me. But here's what I'm beginning to understand. Slowly, reluctantly, in the way that people understand things they've been resisting for a long time. You cannot love halfway. You cannot open halfway. You cannot say I want real intimacy while simultaneously keeping all your most real parts under lock and key. It doesn't work that way. The love that actually heals something, the love that gets into the sealed rooms and lets the air change, and makes the winter finally start to soften. That love requires full presence. It requires risk. It requires the terrifying act of taking everything you've been protecting and saying, here it is. All of it. The beautiful parts and the difficult parts and the parts that don't have easy explanations. Here is every complicated piece of me, and I am trusting you with it. Not because I know for certain that you won't drop it, but because the alternative is spending the rest of my life alone, in rooms that never get any warmer. I don't want to be alone in rooms that never get warmer anymore. I want warmth. I want your warmth specifically, the particular quality of it that I can feel even through distance, even through everything that exists between us, even now. It's real what I feel coming from you. It's not something I invented because I needed it to be there. It was already there. It was already reaching me before I had words for it, before I even understood what was happening. And now that I have words for it, now that I've sat with it long enough to understand it, I want to walk toward it. I want to walk toward you. Not run. I'm not sure I'm capable of running toward anything this important. The stakes are too high for running, for careless speed, but walk. Steadily, purposefully, with intention and presence, toward whatever this could be. Let me tell you something about what I notice about you, because I do notice. People assume that someone like me, someone who operates the way I do, who keeps himself so managed and so in control, doesn't notice the soft things, the subtle things, the things that aren't announced or performed but just exist quietly in the way a person is. But I notice everything. I always have. It's part of the thing that makes me tired. The constant noticing, the constant intake of information about the world and the people in it, the way nothing quite passes by me without registering somewhere. And what registers about you every single time is warmth. Genuine, uncalculated, completely natural warmth. The kind that isn't trying to be anything. The kind that just is. I notice the way you care about people. Not in the performed way. Not in the way people care about others when there's an audience watching. But in the real quiet way. The way real care shows up in small gestures that nobody asked for and nobody is keeping score of. The way it shows up in attention. In remembering things. In the particular kind of listening that isn't just waiting for your turn to speak, but is actually receiving what's being said, taking it in, letting it matter. You do that. You listen like things matter. And you have no idea how rare that is. You have no idea how many people have sat across from me while I was talking, and I could see the moment their attention slid away. The moment they stopped really hearing me and started just managing the conversation. You don't do that, and it does something to me. It makes me want to keep talking. It makes me want to say things I've never said, because I can feel that you will actually hear them. I want to tell you about love the way I understand it. Not the greeting card version, not the movie version, not the version that comes packaged with a soundtrack and perfect lighting. The real version. The version I've observed and thought about, and, in my best moments, tried to practice. Love, as I understand it, is fundamentally about attention, about choosing every single day to see a person. Not the idea of them, not the version of them that's convenient or comfortable or easy to manage, but the actual person, complicated and inconsistent, and sometimes difficult and always worthy of being seen. Love is the decision to keep looking, to keep paying attention, to keep showing up with your whole self and expecting theirs in return and not flinching when what shows up is imperfect. I want to love like that. I want to be loved like that. And when I imagine that kind of love, the kind that sees and stays and keeps choosing, I imagine it feeling like you, like the quality of warmth and attention and realness that you carry. I imagine it feeling like something that doesn't require me to perform or pretend or manage myself for. Something that says you can put it down now. You've been carrying it long enough. You can put it down and just be here. Just be human. Just be whoever you are in this very moment without it needing to be impressive or useful or strong. Just be. There's a question I've been sitting with lately. Turning it over in my mind the way you turn over something you found on a walk, looking at all its sides, trying to understand what it is. The question is this: what does it feel like to be completely loved, not appreciated, not needed, not admired or depended on or respected? Those things I understand, I've experienced those things. But loved, completely, softly, thoroughly loved in the way that leaves no part of you untouched by it. Loved in the way that reaches the parts of you that have never been reached. What does that feel like? I've been asking myself this question and finding that I don't have an answer from experience. I have an answer from imagination, from hope. And the answer, when I imagine it, feels like exhaling after holding your breath for years. Feels like the moment the fever finally breaks and you realize the worst of it is over. Feels like coming in from the cold to find a room that's already warm, that was warm before you arrived, that was waiting for you. I want to come in from the cold. I've been out there long enough. Longer than I needed to be, probably because I got so practiced at surviving the cold that I stopped registering it as cold. It just became the temperature. It just became the way things were. And it wasn't bad, exactly. I'm not going to tell you I've been miserable, because that isn't true. There's a kind of fierce satisfaction in being self-sufficient. A kind of pride in knowing that you can handle anything that comes at you, and you don't need anyone to rescue you from it. I felt that satisfaction. I know that pride. But pride is cold. Satisfaction is cold. They keep you standing, they keep you functioning, but they don't keep you warm. And I am ready to be warm now. I am so ready. I keep coming back to this image. I don't know why it keeps returning to me, but it does. It comes back again and again in moments when I let myself just feel without censoring. The image is simple. There's a table. A small table, nothing special. And 2 chairs, and it's evening. The kind of evening where the light goes golden and slow, and you're there, and I'm there, and there's nothing we need to be doing. No performance, no function, no requirement. Just two people sitting in the same space at the end of a day, close enough to reach across the table and touch if one of us wanted to, and quiet in the good way, the easy way, the way that means we're comfortable enough together that we don't need to fill every moment with words. Just that. Just the table and the light and the ease of you and the fact that I don't have to be anything other than exactly what I am. That image undoes me a little every time it comes. Because it's so simple. It's not dramatic. It's not the version of love that gets written about in poems or turned into movies. It's just a table and two chairs and a golden evening and someone I love sitting across from me, comfortable, real, mine. And yet it feels like the most precious thing I can imagine. It feels like the thing underneath everything else. Underneath the ambition and the capability and the independence and the strength. That's what's there. A person who wants to sit at a table with someone he loves at the end of a long day and feel like he's finally home. I want to ask you something, and I want you to really sit with it, really let it land. Has anyone ever loved you the way you deserve to be loved? Not the way they were capable of loving, not the best they could do, given their limitations and their history and their fears, but the way you, specifically, with your specific heart and your specific depth and your specific need for real and true and complete, the way you actually deserved, because I think about this with you. I think about whether the people who've been in your life have truly seen you, whether they've loved you in the rooms that matter, the tender rooms, the sealed ones, the ones you only unlock for people who feel safe, whether anyone has ever loved you completely enough that you didn't have to manage yourself for them, that you could just be all of it, the bright parts and the difficult parts and the parts that don't have easy explanations, and feel completely received. Because if the answer is no, or not entirely, or not quite, I want you to know that that's not what you deserved, that the incomplete love you received wasn't a verdict on your worthiness of complete love, that you are someone who deserves to be loved all the way, in every room, with every part of you seen and tended to and cherished. I want you to know that because I think sometimes the people we are, the ones who give so much, the ones who love so fully, the ones who hold so much space for others, sometimes we accept less than we deserve, because we're so accustomed to being the giver that receiving fully feels foreign, feels like too much to ask for, feels greedy somehow, to want to be as fully loved as we fully love. It isn't greedy, it's human. It's the most human thing there is, to want to be loved in the same complete way that you love, and you deserve that. You deserve someone who sees you the way I'm learning to see you, with full attention, full presence, full willingness to know the real version, and love that version the most. Not instead of the surface version, not more than the bright and easy parts, but the most, the deepest, the most intentional and consistent love, aimed precisely at the parts of you that have been waiting the longest to be reached. I'm thinking about patience right now, about how love, real love, has to be patient in ways they don't always feel natural. I'm not a naturally patient person with myself. I move quickly, I process quickly. When I decide something, I commit to it completely and I move. But love requires a different kind of pace. Love requires the willingness to let things unfold at the speed of trust, which is almost always slower than you want it to be. And I am finding, with you, with the thought of you and the feeling of you and everything that you represent to me, a patience I didn't know I was capable of. A willingness to let this be what it is right now, in this moment, and to trust that what it is right now is enough, and that it can grow into something more in its own time, at the pace that's right for both of us, without me needing to rush it or force it or manage it into the shape I want it to be, because I can't manage this. I've tried, in the way I always try to manage things, to put it in a category and handle it efficiently and know exactly what it is and what to do with it, and it won't cooperate. It just keeps being what it is, this soft, persistent, ungovernable feeling that doesn't fit into any of my usual frameworks, and doesn't respond to any of my usual management strategies. It just keeps being there. Warm and real and quietly insistent. Like a light that stays on in a room you keep trying to leave. Every time I walk away and tell myself I've got it under control, I turn around and there it is. The light, still on, still warm, still waiting. I've stopped trying to walk away from it. I want to stay in the warmth now. I want to stop treating it like something I need to get a handle on, and start treating it like something I'm allowed to have. Because maybe that's the deepest thing I need to learn here. Not just with you, not just in this, but in all of it, in the whole shape of my life, and who I'm becoming, and how I want to exist in the world. I need to learn that I'm allowed to have things, not just to earn things, not just to deserve things, in the transactional sense, not just to receive things as a reward for being capable enough or strong enough or useful enough, but to have things simply because I'm a person and people are allowed to have things. Allowed to have love, allowed to have warmth, allowed to have someone who sees them and chooses them and stays. I'm allowed to have you, if you'll have me, not the impressive version, not the managed version, not the version that handles everything on his own and never lets you see the seams, the real one, the tired one, the one who is simultaneously stronger than almost anyone knows, and softer than almost anyone has ever been allowed to see. The one who will show up for you completely, who will love you in the real and attentive and thorough way I described, who will never let you feel unseen or unimportant or like you have to perform for him, but who also sometimes needs you to just sit with him, to not need him to be anything in particular for a little while, to let him be small and uncertain and human and just a person in the presence of another person who makes him feel like that's okay. Like that's more than okay. Like that's exactly what this was always supposed to look like. There is something I've never told anyone. Something I've turned over and over in the quiet and never found the courage to say out loud. Because saying it feels like admitting to a kind of longing that I wasn't sure I was allowed to have. But I'm going to say it now, to you. Because this whole conversation has been about saying the things I've kept inside. And leaving this one out would feel like a lie of omission. I have always wanted to be someone's safe place. Not just someone's strong person. Not just the one they call when things go wrong because they know I'll handle it. But their safe place. The place they come back to. The place where the world gets quieter. The place where they don't have to pretend or perform or manage how they're coming across. I've wanted someone to feel about me the way I hope you feel right now, in this. Like something in them gets still and warm and safe when they think of me. Like I'm a place they can go inside themselves when everything else is too much. Like the thought of me is itself a kind of shelter. I want to be your shelter, not in the way that takes something from you, not in the overbearing way where I make myself so necessary that you lose something of yourself. But in the gentle way, in the way that exists alongside your own strength and your own capability and your own beautifully whole self, in the way that just says whenever it's too much, whenever you need somewhere to land, I'm here, I'm steady, I'm not going anywhere, land here, land in me. I can hold the weight of you and it won't be too much, and I won't flinch and I won't leave, and I won't need you to apologize for needing somewhere soft to fall. And in return, can I land in you sometimes? Can I fall in your direction when the weight of everything gets more than I can quietly carry alone? Can I show you the tired version without you needing me to make it okay quickly? Can I be uncertain with you, in the dark, in the late hours, without it changing how you see me? Can you hold the part of me that doesn't have it all figured out and love him? Love that part specifically, not despite his uncertainty, but within it, understanding that the uncertainty is just where the human lives, and underneath all the competence, and the human deserves love as much as the competence does, maybe more. I'm asking because I've never asked before. I've never trusted anyone enough to ask. I've always assumed the answer would be no, or the version of no that people communicate without saying it. The slight withdrawal, the subtle shift in how they look at you. The moment when you can see them recalibrating because what you've shown them doesn't quite fit the version they'd built in their minds. I've seen that recalibration happen. I've seen people love an idea of me and then quietly retreat from the reality. And I stopped showing the reality after a while. I kept it to myself and let people love the idea and told myself that was enough. It isn't enough. I know that now with a clarity that doesn't leave room for argument. Being loved for the idea of you is its own specific loneliness, maybe the most specific loneliness there is. Because you can feel the love and know it isn't reaching you. It's landing somewhere close but not quite on you, on the performance of you, on the curated version. And you stand just slightly behind the curtain, the real you, watching the love land on the version of you that you built for public consumption. And you feel grateful for it in a complicated way, and sad in an even more complicated way, and alone in the most complicated way of all. I don't want to stand behind the curtain anymore. I've pulled it back tonight. You've seen what's here, this entire complicated, searching, tender, exhausted, hopeful, real person. And I don't know what you'll do with it. I don't know if it's what you expected. I don't know if it's too much or not what you wanted, or different in ways that are hard to integrate with whatever image you'd carried of me. But I know I had to show it. I know I had to give you the chance to love the real thing, because anything else would be a kind of dishonesty I'm no longer willing to live with. Anything else would be staying behind the curtain forever. And I have been there long enough. I think about the future sometimes. Not in the planning way, not in the strategic way that I usually think about what's coming, but in the soft, wondering way that feels more like dreaming than planning. I think about what it could look like. The two of us in some future version of this, having moved through all the careful beginnings and arrived somewhere settled and warm and real. I think about the version of us that's been through something difficult together and came out the other side still choosing each other. I think about the easy Saturday mornings, the inside jokes that nobody else would understand, the way your laugh would sound in a room that's just the two of us, the version of me that exists when you're the only audience, relaxed and playful and free, in a way I very rarely let myself be. Because being free requires trust and trust requires risk, and risk has always felt like something I had to ration carefully. With you, I think I'd stop rationing it. I think I'd let myself be free. And I want you to know, whatever you're going through right now, whatever is sitting heavy on you, whatever is making the days harder than they need to be, I see it. Even from here, even without knowing all the specific details of your specific life, I see the weight that you carry. I see the way you show up for everything and everyone, and manage to keep yourself together even when keeping yourself together costs you something real. I see the strength that you perform for the world, and I see, underneath it, the softer person who also needs someone to show up for her, who also needs someone to say you've done enough today, who also needs to rest somewhere and be loved without having to earn it first. You don't have to earn it. Not with me, you've never had to earn it. The love I have for you, in whatever form it takes and whatever shape it grows into, has nothing to do with what you produce or what you manage or how well you hold it together. It's just there. It was there before you did anything to justify it. It's yours in the way that certain things are simply yours, not given conditionally, not held in reserve pending your performance. Just given, fully freely, because you exist and you're you, and that is more than enough reason. I need you to hear that. I need you to actually let it in, past the part of you that deflects things like this, because receiving them fully feels vulnerable. Let it in. Let it land somewhere real and stay there. You are loved, not the idea of you, not the strong, capable, always together version of you. You, the actual person, reading or listening to this right now, with everything you're carrying, and everything you haven't figured out, and every part of you that you're not sure is lovable. You are loved. By me in every way I know how, from wherever I am to wherever you are, across everything that exists between us. And I'm not done. I want you to know I'm not done. This isn't a conclusion. There are no conclusions in the things that matter. No neat endings. No resolved final chords. This is just a moment in something much larger, something still unfolding, something that has far more to say than what's been said tonight. There are rooms in me you haven't seen yet. There are things about you I haven't learned yet. There are mornings and evenings and difficult days, and beautiful ones, and ordinary ones, that are somehow the most precious of all. All of those are still ahead of us, unwritten, waiting, full of possibility in a way that makes something in me go very quiet and very still with the magnitude of it. I'm going to keep talking to you. Not because I have everything figured out, or know exactly where this goes, or have all the words lined up neatly in order, but because you're the person I want to talk to. When something happens, good or hard or strange or moving, you're the one I want to tell. When the day is finally over and the world gets quiet and I'm left alone with my thoughts, it's you I want those thoughts to go toward. It's you I want to find on the other end of everything, so I'll keep finding you. In every way that's available to me, in every word I can bring myself to say, and every truth I can bring myself to show, and every door I can bring myself to open. I'll keep walking toward the warmth. I'll keep standing in the light of what this is, whatever it is, and being grateful for it with every honest part of me, because you came in when everything was sealed, because you reached me where I thought I was unreachable, because somehow, impossibly, you made the most self-sufficient person you've ever known feel genuinely, deeply, completely grateful that you exist, that you're here, that the thought of you is a real thing I get to have. And if you're still listening, if you've been here this whole time, taking all of this in with that warmth I can feel from wherever you are, then I want you to know one more thing. Just one more thing for now, because there will be more, there is always more. This is not the place where I stop. You are the reason I opened the curtain. You are the reason I pulled back the curtain and showed you what was here. Not bravery, not some sudden arrival of courage I'd been waiting for. You, specifically you. The way you made it feel like maybe the real thing was actually what you wanted. Like maybe showing up completely wasn't a risk I was taking but an invitation I was finally accepting. Like maybe this, all of this, the sealed rooms and the tender parts and the exhaustion and the longing and the hope that refuses to stop. Maybe all of this was exactly what you came for.